All right, monster families ranked. We're doing demons today. And let's try not to make a lot of like conjuring jokes or like exorcist jokes, something like that, you know?
The power of Christ compels you.
Oh, does it? Does it compel me?
The demons all have the same first skill. It's called Sword of Destruction. It decreases the healthiest enemy's HP by 10%, and then it attacks in proportion to the amount of HP that was lost. There are two options for second skills. The first is called Devil's Bargain. It starts by sucking up 10% of all of your allies' HP, and then it does big AoE damage, followed by an attack bar boost. The other option is called Madness Judgment. This one is a huge single target attack that ignores defense, but it consumes 50% of your current HP to do so, and it's going to ignore defense in proportion to the amount of HP that you're missing. Now let's get to know our participants a little bit better before we rank them. The fire demon is named Bale, and he's got a 55% accuracy lead in Arena. He's got Devil's Bargain as a skill too, but the main event is his third skill. It's an AoE attack that does big damage and then applies dots in proportion to the amount of damage you've dealt. It also puts a cleanse block on top of that. Cleanse block, as a reminder, has to be removed before any other debuffs can be cleansed. Bale has seen use in RTA in cleave comps, but he's also great in arena offense where you can control the situation a little bit better. By extension, he also has some niche use in Guild Wars as well. And the cleanse block is great for bringing him into situations where he normally wouldn't necessarily fit, like up against a Juno, for example. His brother Belial has a 55% attack power lead in arena. That's not true. It's a res lead. He's also got the skill 2 Madness Judgment. That's the one that ignores defense based on how much HP you're missing. But his passive is what makes him really fun. First of all, he can't glance. And if he dies, he'll be revived after 12 turns pass. And he'll instantly gain a turn. So there are definitely some situations where you can let him fade away, and then you can get a really cheeky snipe in the middle of a game because he happens to have his skill 2 available. Now, what's really funny is that he's actually countered by Mephisto, the Wind Demon. This one has a 44% HP lead in Arena. He has the AoE second skill Devil's Bargain. What makes him really cool is his passive ability. No reviving. Nobody can come back. Cool fact about him, there was a time where this also worked on bosses. So that means that the Necro boss couldn't revive. That was a fun, 20 minutes.
It was a good ride while it lasted.
Also, whenever you attack an enemy, you'll get a shield that's equal to 15% of your max HP. So he's got a little survivability in that, and also the amount of damage he deals is going to go up by 20% every time an ally or enemy dies, and that stacks up to 5 times. So you get the idea with this one. You can bring him anytime you see there's a lot of revive going on in the enemy team. You can bring him up against arena defenses that happen to have quite a bit of revive on them, or you can even bring him into RTA up against things like Vanessa, Nana, Kraka, really anything that tries to revive. Next is the light demon Lucifer, but his friends call him Lucy. He has a 44% defense lead in Arena, and his skill 2 is Devil's Bargain, which is the AoE attack. His passive is an attack bar boost that triggers on damage dealt. He'll also increase the amount of damage that your team is doing. He shines in arena offense, though he can also be used in cleave teams in RTA. And our last participant is the Dark Demon Beelzebub, who has a 44% attack power lead in arena. He's got the ignore defense skill too, and a passive that makes the game very difficult if you're looking at him. When you take down an enemy, you will revive an ally with an amount of HP equal to the damage dealt in the killing blow. And when an ally knocks an enemy out, he will revive with 1 HP and 100% attack bar. So this gets you into some really weird situations where now all of a sudden your opponent is forced to take down the enemies that are not the primary source of damage. And if they do, they'll get punished by having to keep dealing with Beelzebub over and over again. So now that we know the demons a little better, let's get into the rankings. Number 5. Or actually, before I reveal number 5, it should be reminded, this is a pretty good family, right? They're all fun. Yeah, we can agree on that. But somebody's got to be last. So with that said, number 5 is Belial, the Water Demon. He's a fun snipe unit who you can bring into RTA or even use in guilds. Again, the only reason why he's so low in the rankings is because he's a little bit gimmicky and can be exploited a little bit easier than some of his brothers. Number 4, it's Bale. He's great for arena offense. He awakens into crit rate and even has elemental advantage on his 3rd skill. And that's pretty dope because it eases the rune requirements for him a little bit. Plus, you can do some sick cleaves with him in RTA too. And I mentioned it a little bit before, but the cleanse block makes it so that you can bring him up against some cleansers and not get immediately punished for it. Though it's probably not the best place to bring him, but still, you can bring him against a couple of them. Number 3 is Mephisto. Mephisto used to be just a passive with legs. And there are still situations where he can be a passive with legs. The reason why he's here though is because he is great where he's great. If you see a team that has a Nana and a Vanessa, oftentimes you can just slam down a Mephisto to make it so that their comp loses all purpose. And like his brothers that we talked about, if you happen to be playing an arena and you see a Samath or a Nana in there, or for some reason a Tyrannus, a Vanessa, what have you, you could bring him to just make it so the comp doesn't work. But because of his shield and the increase in damage, now he's elevated a little more than just a passive. I feel bad reducing him to just some words, but that's oftentimes why you bring him. Next, Lucifer. He is great in cleave teams, and he actually has some sick synergy with Leo. It's like borderline unfair. It can sometimes be a little difficult to meet the minimum damage to proc his passive, but even then, his use in arena offense cannot be underestimated. You can Leo Lucifer damage your way up pretty high. Here we go. Number 1, the only remaining monster of the 5. Beelzebub, the Dark Demon. He's an extremely fun unit that can make your enemy do some serious mental gymnastics, and sometimes that is worth its weight in gold. Making them think differently while they try to find a way to navigate your team can sometimes net you a couple extra kills with Beelzebub, because most people aren't used to having to kill other units before the damage. And nothing beats the satisfaction of reviving, getting an ignore defense nuke, and then reviving one of your own units.
Do my rankings look like your rankings? Let me know in the comments down below.
Oh, let me know what monsters I should do next. And that's the end. See y'all later.